You may think that mobile games are not real games, that they are simply small, addictive money grabs that can't tell a compelling story. And if they did, the overall impact would be as small as the screen in your hands. Well, if that's how you feel, Florence is here to prove you wrong. Very, very wrong. It's a short experience, but its effect is one that can be felt deeply and powerfully. Simple touch controls and 30 minutes or so is all that Florence needs to make one feel the full weight of life and love, joy and pain. On the surface, the story is a simple one, but anyone who connects with Florence's story will know that, in reality, it's far more complicated than it seems. And I believe that's why so many people have given Florence such high praise. They connect with it on such a deep level. Such a simple experience paints such a rich picture of a part of so many lives. A part of people's lives that brings such a range of emotion. The fact that Florence can capture those emotions so completely in such a short package is astounding. And you can experience it all for the price of a cup of coffee. Florence was published by Annapurna Interactive and is the first game created by Mountains, a studio created by Ken Wong, which is based in Melbourne, Australia. Ken Wong was the lead designer for Monument Valley, another critically acclaimed mobile game, and he filled the same role for Florence. As I was editing this video, Florence won multiple awards in multiple award shows. At the Game Developers Choice Awards, Mountain won the Best Debut Award for Florence, beating out great console and PC games such as Moss and Gris. At the same show, Florence also won for Best Mobile Game. Just before the GDC Awards, Florence won 3 categories at the International Mobile Gaming Awards. Those awards were for Excellence in Storytelling, Best Meaningful Play, and the top award, the Grand Prix. Late last year, at the 2018 Game Awards, it won for Best Mobile Game. Pretty much, I'm not alone here in praising this game and calling it the best mobile game of 2018. I would go as far as to say that it's one of my favorite games of 2018 altogether. It's not every day or even every year that a game has an impact quite like Florence. Someone who is largely responsible for that impact is Kevin Penkin. I believe he is the heart of this game. I don't mean to take away from the other great aspects of the game because they all make the game what it is, but his music just cuts deep. It manages to capture the joy and beauty of falling in love one moment, and the emptiness and pain of an argument the next. It can be light yet dark, whimsical yet deep. Penkin really manages to encapsulate all of the emotions involved throughout Florence's experience. This, combined with a beautiful art style that uses the lack of color one moment and a burst of bright colors the next, really makes Florence's feelings about her life pop out to the player. You can see in this shot how Florence's life is lacking color, but the lives of her friends on social media are bright and booming with life. I think everyone can relate to this experience. But this is brought back later after Florence meets Krish. Now she's off social media and talking to the person who brought something new to her life. She's inspired and happy, and the visual art style reflects that change. The game creators also use simple puzzles to reflect the thoughts and emotions of the characters. On their first date, Florence is nervous. She's not entirely comfortable around Krish yet, but as the date goes on, she begins to loosen up. Without any dialogue, this is conveyed through the increasing simplicity of the puzzle pieces which make up Florence's conversation bubbles. Typically in a game, puzzles would get increasingly more difficult, but this works in reverse to convey Florence's feelings. Again, it's simple, but it accomplishes its goal. It's a creative way to fill the player in on the emotions of the characters while moving the story forward and making the player feel more connected to Florence. These aren't the most addictive or difficult game mechanics that you'll find in a game, obviously, but that's not the purpose of this game. The narrative is the focus. The company does, after all, refer to Florence as an interactive story. There is nothing overly complicated about Florence's design. It's simple and to the point, and that's part of what makes it such a great experience. It doesn't over-encumber itself unnecessarily. It utilizes its simple gameplay mechanics, its simple yet pleasing visuals, and its beautiful soundtrack to create something truly special. It's not a typical game, but Mountains isn't a typical game company. They consider themselves a craft games studio, and that's really refreshing. They are a new studio that brings a new outlook to the games industry. They bring a new way of thinking about games, and that brings new, compelling experiences to your phone. They're hitting the ground running with Florence, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to develop next. Clearly they have an extremely talented team, but Florence will be a tough game to follow, and I wish them all the best with whatever they're working on currently. Speaking of following, you should give them a follow on Twitter at Mountains Games. I would also recommend following the publisher Annapurna Interactive at _A_I. They consistently release beautiful games and wonderful experiences. And if it wasn't already clear, you should download Florence and give its story a go. It's short and sweet, quality, but cheap. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more from Inward Games.